hail the most high in me sleep when me sleep. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. All of my goal is to reach my goal. Live a happy life, put it on me headstone. Nobody no be cry over me dead. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now, oh, look at me now, oh, look at me now. I mean just tell them my life, where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. Me a take plane like JUTC. When you see me, it's on TV. Shows after shows after shows after shows. Tours after tours after tours after tours. When me name call, it's like roars after roars. Sweet melody and chorus after chorus. Them like a one door, me bust doors after doors after doors after doors after doors after doors. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now, oh, look at me now, oh, look at me now. I mean just tell you my life, where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. The blessing does a flow over. This a copia and a cover. Such a soldier from boardhouse to sidewalk to leather sofa. Them say me living at the Costa Nostra, no sir. Me no mix up in a coca. Marijuana no dust to the nose ya. I no powder, not a obia. Can't get over. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. I mean just tell them my life, where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. Me a thank God for me blessing. No me can afford to give.
Thank God for your blessing. You're tuned to the Dorlan H. Francis show on the Jam Talk Radio Network. I'd like to thank you for joining me this afternoon, and I hope you will learn something and be glad you did. This afternoon I will be taking a look at the current crime situation in Jamaica, but also we'll take a look at the programs that will be coming on stream as of the 1st of July. And then the main theme for the show this afternoon is entitled Confronting PNP Corruption. So we'll be looking at some of the blessings that's coming by way of prosperity, and then we'll be looking at corruption that stalks the land, that emanates from a particular party, and look at ways in which we can confront it and see if we can institute some changes. See if we can get these people to change their ways. Because if their ways not change and they were to ever be returned to power, dog name our supper. It will be, the same old, same old. So that will be the focus of the show this afternoon. And I would like to thank you for joining all over the world. And as usual, if you like my show, you're to like it, and you're to share it. Share it amongst friends. You can have it as your discussion amongst friends. And I will endeavor to bring you history, economic and political history in Jamaica. Now, this evening start off on a very disturbing news. During the course of last week, there was a serious uptick in the murder rate in St. James. And this is very worrying. It's a cause for concern for quite a number of people. And it is one of the areas where the government is here to come to terms with matters at hand. But we should not lose sight of the fact that this is an endemic problem. Crime is an endemic problem, and it is caused by the culturalization of the country. It's what we have come to. It's what we have come to. It's sad but true. It is what we have come to. And we have come to this because of years of PNP administration. Right? In a show some time ago, I show you how the PNP mollycoddle crime. Right? And they have a lot to answer for. Right? This crime problem in Jamaica started from their leader Michael Mann. They went and embraced Claudius Henry. Right? The convicted traitor. Right? And Michael embraced him because the convict. And under them, crime has always exploded. And something that has been nurtured and mollycoddled for 32 years is not easy to bring under control. It's 32 years it took us to get where we are, where murder is a way of life. Right? And while this is not comforting, one murder is one too many, what people need to understand is that there is no government in place that has the political will to deal with crime. And I believe fervently that crime will be dealt with. We have the right minister. He's as tough as they come. He's as smart as they come. And he's as determined as they come. And I have no doubt that he will do what it takes to bring the monster under control. But it's not going to happen overnight. Right? Lest we forget. You remember when KD Knight was there? The way crime just explode exponentially. Then Peter Phillips came, and what did he do? He left it just as he saw it, if it didn't get worse. You know? And it took a JLP government to break the trajectory of crime and to put it in a downward trajectory. And handed it over to Peter Bunting, and he maintained a little control, you know, but then clearly under his watch, the downward trajectory bottomed out, and there was an uptick, and that is where the JLP took over with Minister Bobby Montague. And that is what they're wrestling with now, right? But it's not going to happen overnight. Culture does not change overnight. Something that took 32 years to reach where it reached won't change overnight. We should not forget, we should remember we brought in police officers from Scotland Yard. Right? And they did their utmost best. But what was achieved? Not very much. Not very much. We have been through several commissions of police. And what did they achieve? Not very much. Because we have a culture of crime. Unfortunately, we have been governed by the People's National Party. And their approach to crime is to tap it on its wrist, because they get strong support from the lumpen element, and the lumpen element is where the crime emanates from mostly. So because of that, they do not want to deal decisively with crime. But I do believe that the Jamaica Labour Party has the political will to deal with crime, and they will deal with crime. But to really have expected market change in 4 months was really expecting a lot. We hope for it, but it hasn't been achieved. And the best we can hope for is to have the economic environment changing, where people will have less desire to think about criminal acts and more to focus on hopeful employment and other opportunities. Those things will take time. Our police force need to change also. There's too high of an incidence of corruption still within the ranks. So all those things come together to make crime a really challenging subject. And the uptick in murder, though not encouraging, we see where there was aggressive response. There has been curfews and raids, seizures of guns, and the detention of people. So the response has been aggressive, and we hope they will stay with it and be able to wrestle the monster under control. While I'm speaking about crime, I can't help but notice that last week, a student of Alpha Academy was shot in the head. It's not clear who did the shooting, but the people is of the view that it was a police officer who did it. The police is yet to give a statement. They said they are still investigating the incident, right? So I can't say for certain that it was a police officer who did it. But if it was a police officer who did it, I'd like to ask that policeman to take stock of himself. Take stock of himself. If somehow you not even a wanted murderer running away from you should be shooting him, moving away from you. And how can you be shooting into a moving car? How can you be doing that? What if your mother was in that back seat of that car? How could you have known who was in there? What if it was the mother? What if it was some relative of yours? How would you feel? And everybody in that car had a relative, had somebody who loved them. You can't just shoot. I mean, even the biggest criminal there, you don't shoot like that, man. You can't even shoot in a public passenger vehicle. We need to use better judgment. So if it was a police officer, you need to text, you need to check yourself, officer. You need to wheel and come again, man. You can't be shooting into a public passenger vehicle just like that. Because you want to apprehend the driver for the road traffic act. For breaches of the road traffic act, you're going to kill somebody. You're going to kill an innocent girl. We need to be more conscious of what we're doing. Taking a break here. Dog's getting out of hand.
Martin Luther King would have started. My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream. Tell you my dream is believe my dream. Hear the most I in me sleep when me sleep. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. All of my goal is to reach my goal. Live a happy life, put it on me headstone. Nobody no be cry over me dead. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now, oh, look at me now, oh, look at me now. I mean just tell them my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. Me a take plane like JUTC. When you see me, it's on TV shows of the.
I'd like to apologize about that, my listeners. But my little dog here got unruly, and to go and attend to him. Um, my apologies, and I will continue. Um, I basically said what I wanted to say about the crime situation and the shooting of that innocent girl in the back of a taxi. Hope these things never happen again, or that if they do, they become few and far between. These are senseless shooting, and especially coming from people who are supposed to, well, it is alleged that it came from people who are supposed to be serving us and protecting us. That's very ironic. Also, this week I would like to take note of the fact that on the 1st of July, a number of prosperity benefits came into being, and the most significant of them all was the 1.5 million tax break. Right? This benefit will be phased in over a 2-year period. So the break in the first instance will be for 1 million, and then come next year it will move to 1.5 million. Now, this is something I like to speak to and make quite clear to people with who I talk to from time to time. Because people sometimes hear me, lamenting the fact that the problem in the world is caused by a culture of low taxation or no taxation. And they want to know how I can be of that view, but at the same time support this tax cut. Well, let me be very clear. I am for progressive taxation. I am for progressive taxation. By that, it's meant that people who make more should pay more. And the more you make is the more you pay. Right? So when you're a person who supports progressive taxation, it means that on a progressive taxation, it means that some people pay no tax. It means that some people pay no tax, and people who make more, a lot more, pay more of the taxation, right? And this is the policy that the government has implemented, and I hope they stick with it. I hope they stick with it, right? I hear there's people are mooting ideas about eliminating income tax and going to indirect tax. Let me tell anybody who care to listen, that is nonsense talk. That is idiocy of the order of the NAFTA free trade. That is boomeranging on everybody now. And all these other free trade that people who propose them think this is what's gonna transform the world, make it into paradise, right? And it is because of those idiotic ideas why you have the kind of backlash which is reflected in the Brexit referendum last week. Because these brilliant ideas are hurting people, right? So it is the same people with those kind of brilliant, they're coming to talk about eliminating income tax. Well, your income tax must never be eliminated. And I'll explain why, right? But having said that, progressive taxation is the way to go. And under progressive taxation, it means that there are a certain level of people who will pay little or no tax. And what the government has done was to raise the tax-free threshold, and the intention is to raise it to 1.5 million, and I applaud it and I endorse it to the max. fully. That is how you tax. A man will make 1 million or 1.5 million, don't pay no tax. What is there to tax? But when a guy make 15 million or 20 million, you have to tax him, and I'll show you why you need to tax him. Right? So you have this threshold, and of course the threshold applies right across the board, because the way it was originally proposed by the government was not very, it wouldn't have worked. It would cause a lot of anomalies, and they went to the drawing board, get good technical advice, and came up with a perfect working solution. And so the across the board threshold makes sense, and the phasing in makes sense, because we are a country of limited means. We have been beaten upon, we have been mismanaged for years. So we couldn't have afforded to put it all together at once. So that's what was good. So I'm all for the tax cut that's proposed by the government. But I'm also for progressive taxation. And I am utterly 100% opposed to the nonsense about shifting from income tax to indirect tax. It is utter rubbish, it is stupid, and it will lead to stagnation of the highest order. Highest order. And I would appeal to hear Minister Shaw talking about it, and he seemed to like the idea. Right? I would caution him about moving from income tax to sales tax. I'd caution him against that. I hear the Prime Minister talking about progressive tax. I would urge him to press on with that. That is what makes sense. Progressive taxation. And I'm going to tell you why progressive taxation makes sense. You see that Brexit vote? Brexit vote is telling the world that the status quo economics and status quo politics is not working. Right? And the status quo now is where they try to, frown on income tax. And all over the world, you hear they talking about cutting tax or lowering tax. Cutting tax or lowering. It's nonsense. And that is the policy that is causing the 1% having everything and the 99% having nothing. It is that policy that is killing out the middle class. You understand? And it is that policy that is making people living anxious lives. It is that policy why you have this mass migration all over the world, disrupting people's lives. And that is why you find people in America, even in England, is getting, pushing up defenses against immigrants. Because you have this influx of immigrants. And why do you have this influx of immigrants? They have these policies, these low taxation policy, right? And what happened, like I've always said it, in a low tax, income tax regime, the owners of capital will use strategies that will enable them to get most of the profits that an enterprise generate. Every effort will be geared towards getting most of the profit. And what it means is that they will pay very low income to people. You know why? Because when their company make huge profit and they pay themselves big income, they pay no tax on it. There is no consequence. So this no tax regime is an invitation for people to turn on their greed. Turn on their greed. It's an invitation for them to use people like serfs. Use middle class people like serfs, pay them little or nothing, right? Because when they pay you little or nothing, and the company make huge profit and they pay themselves big income and big bonus, they pay no tax on it. And that is why this notion about moving away from income tax is asinine thinking, right? It is stupidity on stilts, and it must not be implemented. Because I can bet anybody, Milton Friedman, any Mr. Economist, he could have the alphabet behind his name. I can bet him and win. If you move away from income taxation, you're gonna have the whole of the capital finding ways to get all the money onto themselves, and then what you'll have is economic stagnation. You see? They see the sales tax now and you will get sales tax because there's no economic activity. There's no economic activity caused by the progressive taxation system that exists in the world, albeit under attack. But the minute that is gone, the minute the progressive tax system is gone, people will have little or no income. And they will not be able to buy things, and the sales tax that they are counting on will not be there. Because the rich man can only consume so much. There's a limit to what the rich man can consume. And when him take away all the money out of circulation and can only consume a very minuscule amount, what do you think is going to happen to economic activity? It's going to grind to a halt. And I'm appealing to the party I support, the Jamaica Labour Party, to run the IMF and the global money cabal with their thinking. What prosperity have their thinking brought anybody? When was the last time they came with an idea that proved that brought prosperity to the world? All their idea is geared to bring prosperity to the 1%. That's all. The 1% is the one who will benefit. And they are to rebuke it, they are to reject it, and they are to adhere to progressive income taxation. And I would dare say the people who are balling now, who earn over 6 million and balling, don't ball. Don't ball. The problem in the world is that we are all too selfish, we are all too greedy. Right? That's why we are where we are. Everybody is today and greedy, and we're not working out for what is best for society. And as somebody who has studied the optimal way to do this thing, I can tell you, man who make over 6 million, you are better off paying the little tax. You understand? Because when you pay the tax, you'll have a society where you have more people with money who can demand the service you are offering. You see? And the service you are offering is you don't have a lot of competition for that service. That's why you're getting high income. So when you make the other man make a little money, he will demand more of your service. And guess what? Your income will double faster than his. I can bet you and win that. So you're getting 6 million now, and you have this tax cut that's going to generate economic activity. And because you pay your taxes, your 30%, you're going to have an economic situation. You're going to have an economic expansion that will demand more of your service, and therefore will have to pay you more. So at the end of the day, you'll end up making more. I would bet anybody and win them that within 5 years, those getting 6 million now, within 5 years, they'll be getting 12. Your income will double. And it's all because of the taxation regime. So do not ball. I hear some people complaining and think they are ignorant. They don't know how the tax thing works. And they're following their gut instinct. Nobody wants to pay tax. Right? But somebody has to pay the tax. And who is to pay it? The man who have nothing? Or the man who God bless and who fellow people in society support so that him can get a good income? He's the one who is to pay it. Alright? I tell you, when people frown on the tax payment, what you find is a society where contraction take place. Contraction take place. This notion about no tax, low tax is nonsense. It's pushed forward by the money gods of the world. right? And it is that thinking that has brought the world to where it's at. It is that thinking that is killing out the middle class in like countries like America and in Britain, right? So what you have is a very 1% very rich and 99% poor, like Haiti. That's what the world is headed to. You have to pay tax, man. It's an economic cycle. And if you don't put back money in the system, you won't have anything to get. You won't have any income coming back to you, right? So don't feel bad. Feel blessed, right? Because you have been blessed while you're being asked to do a little more. And by doing more, you will get more. You will get that is how the economy set. And if you refuse to do more, you will not get more. Right? So it work. It work like that with income. It work like that with prices too. One of the problem in the world today because people is running down cheap price because their gut instinct tell them that to run down cheap price. And they don't realize that when they run down cheap price, they are driving down their income. You know, everybody come and I'm making $3 million a year, and everybody think, oh, it's my doing and so on. No, man, I know you're doing because nobody no support you. If nobody want the service you provide, you won't be able to make that 3 million. And how are you gonna make sure people want the service you provide? It's only people with money can want your service, So when the little man who get where the threshold raise have more money and can spend, he will want more of your service. So give thanks for that, right? And we're not to make our gut instinct lead us astray. And these are the things happen. We want everything cheap. We rather than buy Jamaica boilers chicken or Caribbean boilers chicken, you want chicken back imported from abroad because it's cheaper. Well, let me tell you something. When you want things imported from abroad, guess where your job going to go? Your job going to go where you want the import come from. You understand? That is what is catching up with America now, where they believe they had this successful middle class and rich set of people. And they figure they could just lock that in time and then just have everything coming from offshore. They went and offshore all the jobs, and everything coming cheap. But they never forget, so wait, income is something you have to generate every day. You have to generate your income every day. So when you talking about you want cheap stuff and the businessmen them know offshore all these jobs and things, where you going to get income from? How it go? Where you think you going to get the income from? And like I said last week, the price coin and income is the same coin. It's the flip side. So if you push down price, you're going to push down income. There's no two way about it. And if you push up price, you'll push up income. Right? So what you're to focus on, stop focusing on cheap prices and focusing on good income. And try and support your neighbor. Support your neighbor. If the neighbor will go and support you, if the demand that your neighbor drive, why you have a service, why you have a job, right? So don't run down price and don't ball at paying taxes. That is what call for economic balance, and that will give you a stable life, good income, and good quality of life, good services, and all of that. The minute you try to think away that, by either driving down prices or driving or not wanting to pay taxes, then the whole cycle is disrupted. You understand? And a lot of people think they can beat the system and they will one up the system and win. It doesn't work like that. So those who are in a better position to pay the tax and pay it willingly. And those of you who are shopping, support local industries. So all economy is local. Make the people around you live. It's them going to make you live. Right? Don't get caught up in this global nonsense. This globalization idea was driven by idiots like Milton Friedman. Right? And people who don't know that we have an economy because people live. You see, they think we have an economy because business must make money. No, that's not why we have an economy. We have an economy because people live. Every day people get up there and want bread and butter and something to drink. When them sick, they want medicine. You understand? And then, after all their work, they want some entertainment. Right? We have an economy because people have needs for necessities, needs for conveniences, and needs for amusements. Right? And it's because people need those things. They have enterprise and businessmen who come and offer that. And so we have this economic activity. But we have gone off the tracks, right? All of a sudden believe that the economy is so that people make money. And you have economists, so-called economists like Milton Friedman, saying that corporations have no social responsibility to people. They only have social responsibility to their shareholders. You see? So those are the kind of nonsense that is guiding the world and why life has gotten so hard. But take it from Sister D boy from Ginger Ridge. That's not so it go. So the economy is about mankind surviving. And we need certain things to survive. And what happened in order to have the things that people need to survive to be passed easily from who produce to who use, mankind invents something called money. But over the years, we stupidly believe that all we need to get is the money. And that is why people, when they make them big, $10 million salary, they don't want to pay no tax out of it. Because they think it's fine to shore up the money. Right? But if the tax don't pay, you won't have a balance in the economy. You won't have enough people creating demand so that Caribbean boilers can stay in business producing chicken and providing jobs for people. Right? You won't have enough demands that the service that you offer, there will be a use, there will be need for it. Right? And that demand is created by smart government, smart politicians who use fiscal measures to redistribute and balance the economy. Right? When you have some stupid politicians like the conservatives in America, they don't believe in that, and all the while them crash the economy. You understand? The stupid conservatives, you hear what them name conservatives, so they want to conserve what them have. In other words, they want to keep what them have. And when you try to hold on to what you have, not more come into you, and pretty soon what you have they shrink away. Right? You have to just make the cycle keep going. And the conservatives, they are always against tax. They are all for cutting tax. And they don't want to spend. Right? They like run budget surplus and all that. And those formulas has crashed the economy of the world twice. In 1929 and again in 2007. The conservative formula of low taxation or cutting the tax, whatever tax they come and see, they always see they must cut it. They feel that your government mustn't spend, right? So they cut tax, and because they cut the tax, they don't have enough money for government to spend. But some of them, on top of not having government spending, also want to run budget surplus. So they don't understand that you spend money, and when you spend money, generate income for people. So they use their formula, and what their formula has produced time and time again is that it blew up the economy. It blew it up in 1929 and again in 2007. And that is the formula. And those are wrong-headed thinking, and we should not be encouraged to embark on those missions. We should take heed. We should learn the lessons of those practices and do what makes sense. And what I am telling you that makes sense is having progressive taxation, right? Where who make more pay more. And if you don't make certain amount, you don't pay no tax, which is what this tax-free threshold is doing. And those are good ways to go. Those will bring better economy. Okay, so also on the 1st of July, some other prosperity benefits will kick in. And according to the Prime Minister's presentation, people who earn up to 12,000 per week can now get housing trust mortgage that will attract interest rate of 0%. 0%. And those people, anybody making 12,000 per week could borrow up to $4.89 million, almost $5 million to buy a house. And those people now will get mortgage on which they pay no interest. Right? So if you have a couple, a man and a woman or two spouses making 12,000 per week, they combined could get a mortgage of up to $9.8 million, so almost $10 million. And that mortgage you pay no interest on it. Now, now that is prosperity. Now this was moving from the previous threshold on that was 7,500. So you're talking about a good 4,500. It's more than 50% increase in that. More than 50%. So that is very good news. And there were a number of other housing benefits that were announced by the Prime Minister that will be taking effect. That has taken effect as of the 1st of July. And those to my mind are prosperity, right? That is what you consider prosperity. And we should not blind ourselves of the benefits that are being provided. You see, what happens with people, sometimes, when you get things, you just look past that. You look past what you get and it's looking at what you don't have yet. But while you must grasp what you don't have and strive to get what you don't have, you must not be ungrateful for what you get. And you have to give thanks. Alright? And there's a big boon here. You get the tax-free threshold, you get the housing benefits, and also the auxiliary fees. Right? The auxiliary fees, the government said that your auxiliary fees will not be compulsory in school anymore. And it is not. I know that the principals are trying their best to frustrate the effort. And I said that, it's regrettable, but it's true. In Jamaica, we play too much politics. And we know that a lot of the principals support the PNP. We know that. I know that. I used to teach. I was a member of the JU, the Jamaica Teachers Association. I was a member. I know what the politics is. It's sad. And they're going to use politics to try now come and concoct all kind of fees now. So that this benefit, this effort of the government is brushed aside. It's as if the government did not do anything. Well, look, people listening to me, the government say no fees, you have no compulsory fees. No compulsory fees, and you don't pay. Pay it if you can and support the school and help build it up as best you can. But don't stress yourself to pay it. When they come into you, tell them say the government say the fees, they are replacing the auxiliary fees. The government is paying it for poor people or for everybody, as a matter of fact, up to secondary school level, right? And you should not let them come and frustrate you, because they are playing games. They are playing political games. I don't understand how these supposedly intelligent people can be so deceptive and dishonest. And what are they supporting? They're supporting a party that is only destroying our country. And I'll be coming to that. But that is what they're hell-bent on doing. They're doing their best to frustrate this government so that the people can look and say, oh, well, this is no big thing. And then they run back to the arms of the great oppressors. You're not to allow them to trick you. And there are some serious reliefs that have come because of this government. The income tax threshold has been increased. Housing benefits have been increased. Now you can look forward to getting houses, and you don't have to pay the oppressive interest on the mortgage. If people only know how the interest can cause the payments to be huge, they would see that as a very big benefit. And the auxiliary fee. All in all, people will have a lot more money to spend, and you are to spend the money wisely. And like I've said, you are to support local industry. If local people go and give you a job, when you run go buy foreign things, you sending your job to foreign. Because like I said last week, I'm going to say it again this week. Not because you in a job. And when you buy the honey and from foreign and make the farmer man can make a living. What the farmer man going to do is pack up farming and come line up behind you. Him go and go retrain and come for your job. You understand that? People need to start think along these lines. And you must think community. We must think local. All economics is local. And we are in this thing together. And stop talking about cheap. Stop talking about cheap. The more you run on cheap, the more you drive down your income. Right? And not because you know a job and you know it for how many years and you feel. The fact of the matter is that when another man can make a living, he's going to want to come do what you are doing, since you are the one making a living. And it is your industry in which him can make a living. So what he's going to do, he's going to stop doing what he's doing and come into your industry. And what you think will happen when he come into your industry? He's going to come pressure price. Because when him come into the industry and you have man line up behind you on your job, you can't go to your boss and go ask him for a raise. You can't ask him for a raise. If you're a man and your wife have a baby, you probably want to stay home for a couple days or a week or so, And you can't do that because you have people line up ready to take away your jobs. Okay? And that is what happened when you run down cheap and send other people job a foreign. You believe in that you're secure in your job? No, you're not secure in your job. So support local industry. Support the local farmer. The onion might not be smooth like the other ones. The potato might not be smooth like how them other ones come in. But you know something? They are more tasty. The local stuff more tasty. So support local. Make these local industries grow and expand. Because that is the way you will ensure that you stay in your job. Right? We have been thinking to distort it for too long. And you must think and figure out what can I do to make sure me stay in my job. And you can stay in your job when you support the local man, make him have another income. Right? And not have to come pressure you. And you can stay in your job when you provide people with income so that them can buy what you selling. So that the company you work for, the goods the company you work for, have people them can sell it too. Because the more people the company you work for, the more people the company have to sell things to, is the more workers them going to want like you. So that way your job will be secure. So you secure your job by ensuring that other people have job, other people around you. And don't buy into this globalization nonsense. Understand? Because we're not here on earth to find cheap things, and we're not here on earth to shore up money. We're here on earth to sustain our lives and to enjoy our lives for as long and as well as the good Lord allows. Okay? So don't buy into some of these nonsense ideas. I'm gonna take a break. When I come back, I'll be looking at corruption in the People's National Party. Some more Nesbet. My dream.
My dream, my dream, my dream. Tell you my dream is believe my dream. Hear the most I in me sleep when me say. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. All of my goal is to reach my goal. Live a happy life, put it on me headstone. Nobody no be cry over me dead. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now. Look at me now, look at me now. I mean, I tell them my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. Me I take plane like JUTC. When you see me, it's on TV. Shows after shows after shows after shows. Tours after tours after tours after tours. When me name call is like words after words. Sweet melody and chords after chords. The black one door me but doors after doors after doors after doors after doors after doors. Look at me now, where them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. I mean, I tell them my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. The blessing does a flow over. It's a copia and a cover. Chacha soldier from boardhouse to sidewalk to leather sofa. Them say me living at the coast and no trap, no stop. Me no mix up in a coca. Marijuana no dust to the nose ya. I no powder, not a obia. Can't get over. Look at me now, where them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. I mean, I tell them my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. Me and thank God for me blessing. No me can afford to give back to some of the same people. Them were used to settings, all who used to set him. Now bust him, can't bust them. Same one I take bust. Come on stage trophy, call up them, but me still a call up them. Bust them, but me can't trust them. See them, but me not touch. No hit them, but me can't love them. From Trenchtown, I next star rise again. Look at me now, where them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. I mean, I tell them my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now, look at me now, where them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now, look at me now, look at me now. I mean, I tell them my life where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now, look at me now, look at me now.
Give thanks for your blessings, because your blessings is made possible through God Almighty and through a government that have sense. A government where the Prime Minister say his dream is to make you realize your dream. You hear that? Andrew Holness says that his dream is to help you to realize your dream. And he's implementing policies and programs that will make you realize your dreams. But in Jamaica, we have a party called the People's National Party. And they believe that Jamaica was bequeathed to them. They believe that when Britain decides that they have enough of Jamaica, them left them in charge. Right? And The People's National Party has been in power for 39 years, right? Since adult suffrage. 39 years. And they have been in power for 32 of the last 44 years. 32 of the last 44. And what have they done for Jamaica? Right? They are here now poised and ready. You know? What when the good things happen, oh, it's nothing. They just ignore that. Right? The tax cut, they figure it couldn't have been financed, so they make it a big issue until it was financed. And when it was financed, them just ignore it. Right? The housing trust thing, when were there, they use the housing trust to help set up them rich friend. You know, to bail out them friend. They're connected comrade. You know, because you know, the cannon fodders, you know, all them want to give you the box food and drinks, you know, when election come. They don't really do much else for you. Right? They just set up the friend. And they're out there waiting. Right? And I'm appealing to the Jamaica people, don't be conned by them anymore. Don't allow yourself to be conned. Right? They're gonna come now and use any little area of weakness, any little area where the government is not, you know, getting ahead of the game. That's where they're going to focus. And they're going to pretend like nothing is happening in the country. Right? And the crime that is going on now, that is, you know, unnerving everybody, which was mollycoddled and nurtured by the PNP. They're going to come now and try to talk about it. But all you are to say when they come in to talk about it is, what did you do about it? How did it get out of hand? How did we come to this? When you were there and could have stemmed the flow, what did you do? Right? And to me, the People's National Party is like the little midget, a little 4'9" midget who look at a guy who is 5'10" and say, oh, he's not 6 feet. Look at him, he's not 6 feet. He's not 6'4". He's only 5'10". But the midget is 4'9", and they're the ones with pointing out your shortcomings. Oh, he's not 6 feet. A 5'10" man. Not 6 feet. But forget that the midget is 4'9". Right? That is the PNP. And you're not to fall for the trick. Right? Because when you look at all the areas where they dominate, look at the people them there now. Look at them. How prosperous are they? In Southwest St. Andrew, how prosperous are the people there? In South St. Andrew, how prosperous are the people there? In East Central St. Andrew, where the Minister of Finance was, how prosperous are the people there? Huh? How prosperous after all these years? What have they done for you? They use you to gain power, right? And when they get the power, all they use the power to do is to find some corrupt hack to indulge in. And this evening, I want to remind you of some of these. corrupt hack, right? In 1972, People's National Party came to power. P.J. Patterson was the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And one of the first deal that was done that caused all kind of question was a deal called the Iran sugar deal. Right? So what happened? Jamaica normally did trade with the EEC, the EU, before it became the European Union, right? So most of our trade, coming from Mother Britain, we were focused on that. And we had preferential treatment with them. Now, when the PNP came to power, they tried to, I think that trade agreement was up for renegotiation. And they were looking at alternative markets for sugar. So they decided to go to Iran. And according to this WikiLeaks cable, this was coming straight from the US Embassy, right? Um, the cable was reporting. It's a cable from January 75, 1975, and it was giving the background behind the Iran sugar deal, you know. And the long and short of it was that Jamaica entered into a deal with Iran to sell them 50,000 tons of sugar, right? From I think it was from 1975 until 1981. That was the period over which they would supply 50,000 tons of sugar, right? Yeah. It over a 7-year period, they would have supply 50,000 tons of sugar. The total charge was expected, the total earnings from that 50,000 was expected to be 32.9 million US dollar, right? Now, in order to make the arrangement, they had gone and dealt with two US company. The company was one was Kell and McAdam, right? And they had used this company as a middleman to go between with Iran, and then after a while they found out that they could have dealt directly on a government to government basis with Iran. I don't know if they had entered into a contract to use these people, right? But even if they did enter into a contract for them to sell the sugar to Iran, or whether they use them to approach Iran, here's a deal where they were supplying the sugar and getting 32.9 million US. And you know how much they paid to settle with these people? They paid 17. They paid 17.5 million US dollar, right? Because they were no longer gonna use these two company, and they were now gonna go directly from Jamaica, government to government, right? Now you're talking about a deal where you are making 32 million US dollar from the goods you sell, and two companies for middleman service is getting 17.5 million US dollar, right? So the commissions alone is more than what you're making on the goods you're selling, more than half the price of the goods you're selling. Now, how you explain a deal like that, right? And how could sensible people enter into such a deal? Huh? And that was the first deal that was questioned. It was a deal that evoked a lot of questions during the 70s, and it was called the Iran sugar deal. Right? And that is how the People's National Party operate. Okay, so the first one was the Iran sugar deal. Then we have the Shell waiver scandal. Right? Um, Now, with the Shell waiver scandal was a situation where you're talking about a oil company. Shell. Oil companies are some of the richest companies in the world. Right? And if oil company can't make money, then they're doing something wrong. And for them to want waiver, you find that this is a joke. You're going to be providing waiver to a company that is in the richest industry in the world, the black gold oil. But nevertheless, when PJ Patterson was finance minister, um, Shell got a waiver for $31 million of taxes that was due. Right? That led to Michael having to ask PJ to resign, and then he resigned. And when he resigned, he said, "I shall return," and he did. And I say all of that to say, people, Jamaicans of good faith, the people who support the People's National Party are not very principled. Because if you can have a man like this who give a waiver to the point where Michael, their idol Michael, had to ask him to resign, and then him come back now and come lead the party, it means that these people like people who do things in a questionable way. It seems as if they love when they are led by people who conduct themselves in manners in a manner that is questionable. That can't be an honorable way to operate. You're going to support leaders with questionable behavior. Right? Also, there was the Rollins land deal. Now the Rollins land deal was a situation where you had Rollins who I think he was owner of, I think he owned Earths at one time. But the Ryder truck, I know he owned the Ryder truck company in the States. And I think he had Earths and sold it and was expanding with Ryder truck, but he was expanding too fast. And he had gone to banks and pledged his assets for loans to expand this company. And some of the assets that were pledged was land holdings in Jamaica. Right? So like Rosal, I think about 1,200 acres of land in Rosal, 200 of which is beachfront land. Right? And he went and pledged those properties to banks in the States. And when he ran into problem in his Ryder truck company, the banks foreclosed on them. And then when Eddie Seaga became prime minister, he bought Jamaican land, right, from these banks at the foreclosed price. So he paid for them based on market price, and it was a fair and square deal, right? But Rollins went about behaving as if his land was expropriated or his land was taken away. Now he went and pledged his lands to a bank, to our banks in America, and these banks put up the land, the assets for sale, because Rollins was not servicing his loan to Ryder, the loan he got from these banks to set up his Ryder truck company, right? And Seaga buy the lands fair and square for the Jamaican people, And Rollins was there creating a lot of mischief, creating a lot of trouble. He was appealing to his congressman to try to use pressure tactics to bully Jamaica. And he found a willing guy, Prime Minister PJ Patterson, who went and agreed to give him back the land for 1 million US dollar. 1 million US dollar for 1,200 acres of land, 200 of which was seafront land. Right? At that time, an acre of seafront land was going for $1 million US at that time. So, how you explain a deal like that? Huh? Are our leaders so incompetent at making deals? But I have no doubt that Jamaica lost heavily on that transaction. That's all I know, for sure. Jamaica lost heavily. Jamaica entered into a transaction fair and square to acquire those lands, and then they were sold back by Prime Minister Patterson, right, for the princely sum of 1 million US dollar for 1,200 acres of land, right? And I have no doubt that Jamaica lost heavily on that deal. Then there was the IT deal. You remember the net serve deal? Where we Jamaicans, we a poor country, inviting foreign investors, and we come down here and was providing the foreign investor with money. Huh? Because they have a little money that they got from the selling of the spectrum to Digicel, right? They had some money from that. I don't remember how much it was sold for, but that's where this money came from, that they used to set up NetServe. And then they allow these foreigners. You have foreigners coming to the country. Clearly they didn't have any superior technology or anything, and you're going to provide them with money. Foreign investor coming to Jamaica, and the Jamaican government providing them with money. So that was the NetServe debacle. 200 million was wasted there. And of course you have Operation Pride scandal, where there was about 5 billion went lost there in developing squatter settlement and so on. Right? There was the fat salary scandal, where you had about 60 advisors to the government who was drawing fat salaries at the time for doing only God knows what. Right? And then there was the furniture scandal, where upon assuming office in 1989, a number of government offices was refurbished and refurnished at humongous cost. And the only price to pay was a little clerk who was charged. And I think he was convicted on that. Right? But all the politicians got away scot-free. Right? And then of course there was Omar Davis with his run with it. I don't know if people remember that when he him said that the government was spending and he was not about to stop it. He wasn't going to stop any progress. So I'm basically spend money that they didn't have, and it affected the budget. And a lot of the taxes that were paid for, even in this go around, a lot of the taxes that was imposed by Peter Phillips, right, had to be done to try and remedy that run with it situation, right? Of course, you know that during that time, between Finance Minister Omar Davis and Prime Minister PJ Patterson, they implemented policies that blew up the economy and gave us FinSAC, And the whole FinSac deal cost the Jamaican people about $132 billion. $132 billion. And you're talking about 132 billion, not to build one bridge, not to build one school, not a fire station, just to bail out insurance policies, bail out bank account of Jamaican people because the policy, their idiotic policy, blew up the financial sector. It caused 9 of 11 banks to go belly up. Sorry, 8 of 11 banks and 9 of 11 life insurance companies to go belly up. And in order to bail out the policyholders in these companies and to bail out the savings of the people in the banks, they set up this financial sector adjustment company, right? And it costs you and I $132 billion. 132 billion. An estimated 3 billion US at the time. Right? And then out of that deal you had all kind of fire sale of properties. You know, one of the famous one was the sale of class radio to a genetically connected party man for a song and dance. Right? Their policy blew up the man company, right? Cause class to go bankrupt, and then a party man was able to buy class off the auction block for next to nothing. Those are the kind of things that went on, right? I don't know how many people remember about the NSWMA scandal. You know, where about 3 billion went unaccounted for. 3 billion. And when people were asking questions, the chairman and CEO of NSWMA told a couple of journalists to shut their damn mouth. You understand? When the Jamaica people was making inquiries about their $3 billion that could not be accounted for. Of course, there was the White House Hotel cost overrun, where a hotel that was earmarked to cost, it was budgeted to build the hotel at 70 million US dollars. It ended up costing over 120 million US dollars. Therefore, one hotel cost what 2 hotels should have cost. Right? There was also the giving away of JPS. There was also the giving away of JPS. You know, that JPS, I know of a fact that one company had bid 260 million US dollars for 2/3 of JPS. And the bidding process was cancelled. Right? And then it came back and Miran got JPS for 210 million. Sorry. 210 million. Right? Our country was given away 210 million. Miran, a bankrupt US company, was able to use the fees they charge Jamaica people for the electricity service to get their company out of bankruptcy. And then they turn around and in 4 years was able to sell JPS for $800 million. Right? 800 million. 4 years. With very little capital investment. They did not meet all the capital investment target that was in the agreement. Right? So I think the capital investment they made was not even as much as 150 million. Right? So you buy it for 210. You use the cash flow to bail out your bankrupt company in the States, right? And then you were able to sell it for 800 800 million in 4 years, right? Um, and the other scanner I would like to look at is the selling out of the citizen of Portmore to the highway company, right? Because they know that there's over 250,000 people living in Portmore at the time. Maybe now it's about 300,000, and these people, most of them would want to use the toll road, and they allow the toll to be there, right? And that is how the People's National Party treat the Jamaican people. And why the Jamaican people keep embracing them is only God Almighty knows. Only God knows. Because the People's National Party has embarked on missions of abuse of the Jamaican people. Right? They have been there for, like I said, 39 years. And in 39 years, the water system that the People's National Party has built for Jamaica delivers 12.5 million gallons of water per day. The island needs 200 million gallons. 200 million. Right? And the system the PNP can say them built was 12.5 million gallons. Right? One system that Shira built, the Tullow Spring, it alone delivered 12.5 million gallons. The Tullow Spring, 12.5 million gallons. Right? The one that Eddie Siaga built, the Yalas pipeline, delivered 23 million gallons. 23 million gallons. Eddie Siaga also built the Greater Mandeville Water Authority. Right? The JLP, the one who built the Matabray water system. So that if you see how much hotel going in the North Coast and you never hear them have water problem yet. Because they planned for the planned water system to meet those demands. Right? And who built those water system? The bulk, I would estimate about 80% of all the water system in Jamaica was built by the Jamaica Labour Party. Right? The water system built by JLP. Schools. Between the first term of Buster government, the first 10-year term, the 2 5-year term, and in the term between 62 and 72, is 126 primary school. The JLP built 126, and Shira built 59 secondary school in 1 5-year term. 59, right? So when it comes to the school system, the school was there again built by the Jamaica Labour Party. Right? I would again estimate about 80% of the schools built by the Jamaica Labour Party. Right? Hospitals built by the Jamaica Labour Party. Right? And what the PNP is noted for is the building of toll roads. So the roads they build force you to pay. And while those were being built, the interior was left to become riverbeds, forcing motorists to have to live at their garage. Every week they have to be fixing something on their car, right? And that is the party that run down power in Jamaica. And we are the people who give them power. Are we crazy? I believe it's time we come to our senses and realize the little things that they do to trick people into supporting them and to not fall victims for those things. Right? The People's National Party, they have a very good grassroots organization at the constituency level. And they have an organization, what I call a secondary organization, where they organize people at the university, they organize like the JTA and the teachers, right? They have people in the nurses, they have the trade unions, right? They organize these people. And these people support the People's National Party because, not because they provide good governance, but because when the People's National Party is in power, they look out for their people. And these people can get a fish head here or a fish head there, right? And it doesn't matter if the Jamaica economy goes down the tube. It doesn't matter if the infrastructure decline. All matter is that they are in a position where they can get some kickback. They can get some run-ins. I think we need to come to our senses, realize that the People's National Party has a problem. You know, like like a drug addict. Like a drug addict, the People's National Party is addicted to corruption. They're addicted to corruption. And we need to realize that they have no cure. They have no cure. And we are not to let them come and dissuade us or detract us. The government of the Jamaica Labour Party, led by Andrew Michael Holness, has its mission, the desire to help you fulfill your dream. Don't be ungrateful to that. Don't be dissuaded from that. Don't be conned by people who over 39 years have demonstrated beyond any shadow of a doubt that all they can focus on is corrupt activity. Right? So, as the prosperity benefits are starting to kick in, I ask that you make note, accept them, and be grateful. Right? Don't take them for granted. They did not must come. And they don't must have to be there. Right? Support the government that has made those benefits possible. Right? And when you come to make a decision again, look at the history. Go back in time. Keep this recording and replay it. And look at all the corruptions over all these years. Look at the billions of dollars that they have cost the Jamaican people. Look at what they have done for the country. How much school have they built? How much water system have they put in? How much roads they build? How much toll roads they build? Right? And ask yourself if that is the best they can do. Ask yourself if that is what you want. And I have no doubt what the answer would be. So don't let them play politics and trick you. Right? See, we notice that Mocha is moving into the parish councils and cleaning up the corruption that is endemic in those places. Right? And they're coming to talk about this politics. It's not politics. You know, the fact of the matter, if the Jamaican people, through the Jamaican police, is moving against corruption, then it's one set of people, mostly, that's going to get squeezed. And it's the party that has spent all its life focusing on corruption. Right? How to plunder the resources of the state to benefit the connected few members of its party. It must be there, it must be them who will come under the microscope. It's not about politics. It's about good governance. It's about the eradication of corruption. So clearly, people who practice corruption are the ones who are going to feel it. Right? So I appeal to listeners, educate yourself, inform yourself, and support the government. They will not be able to do everything all at once, and there will be shortcomings. Don't let those shortcomings blind you to the good that's being done. Because when all is said and done, it is this government that is going to move you out of the miserable poverty that you have been in for all these years and take us on the path to prosperity. I thank you for joining me this afternoon. Please listen, like, and share on your friends' timeline the program. I want as much people to hear these programs as is possible because, like they say, knowledge is power. When you inform yourself, people cannot fool you. Thanks for joining. I will leave you with some more Nesbet.
Let me start that one here. Like how Martin Luther King would have started. My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream. Tell you my dream is to live my dream. Hear the most high in me sleep when me sleep. Tell you my goal, my goal, my goal. All of my goal is to reach my goal. Live a happy life, put it on me headstone. Nobody no be cry over me dead. Look at me now, when them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. I mean just tell them my life. Where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Me a take plane like JUTC. When you see me, it's on TV. Shows after shows after shows after shows. Tours after tours after tours after tours. When me name call is like roars after roars. Sweet melody and chorus after chorus. Them lock a one door, me bust doors after doors after doors after doors after doors after doors. Look at me now, where them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. Oh, look at me now. I mean just tell them my life. Where them used to go round me, go round. No one used to come round me. My life was so lonely. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. The blessing does a flow over. This a copia and a cover. Judge a soldier. From boardhouse to sidewalk to leather sofa. Them say me living at the Costa Nostra. No sir, me no mix up in a coca. Marijuana no dust to the nose ya. I no powder, not a obia. Can't get over. Look at me now, where them treat me less than gold. Put me in a box like a rectangle. Oh oh, look at me now.